The night sky above the alien world shimmered with strange colors. Like oil floating on water, Captain Ray Carter opened his eyes slowly, his head pounding as if 1,000 drums were beating inside it. The last thing he remembered was his ship shaking, alarms screaming, and the sound of metal tearing apart. Now he lay on a smooth silver table under a soft blue light, surrounded by walls that pulsed as if alive. He tried to move, but his arms felt heavy, and his chest burned with pain. When he looked down, he saw a long wound across his ribs glowing faintly with a golden light. It was unlike any wound he had seen before. It was not bleeding, but it was moving like something was inside it. A shiver ran through his body as he tried to breathe. The door of the room opened with a whisper, and a tall figure stepped in. Her skin was pale green, glowing softly, and her large black eyes blinked slowly as she approached him. She wore a white robe that shimmered like glass, and strange tools floated beside her. Controlled by invisible energy, Ray stared, speechless. As she stopped beside his table, the alien doctor tilted her head, studying his wound carefully. Then she whispered in a calm but shocked voice, "I've never seen anything like this." Ray's heart raced. He wanted to speak, but his throat was dry. "What happened to me?" he asked weakly. The alien doctor didn't answer right away. She looked at the glowing wound again, eyes wide with curiosity and fear. Finally, she said softly, "You are human, but your body is changing." The words hit him like a punch. Changing? What did she mean by that? Ray tried to sit up, but pain shot through him like fire. The doctor placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Her skin felt cool, almost soothing. "Don't move," she said. "Your body is healing." "But not in any way I understand." He looked around the room again, noticing the strange symbols on the walls, glowing softly like living veins. The machines beside him hummed quietly, scanning his body with soft beams of light. He could see his reflection on a glass panel above. Pale, sweaty, eyes wide with confusion, he looked more like a ghost than a soldier. The doctor moved one of her floating tools closer to his wound. A beam of light scanned across the golden glow, making the air around them hum. Suddenly, the light inside his wound flared brighter, and the machines began to beep wildly. The doctor stepped back in shock. "What is happening?" Ray gasped. The doctor's eyes were wide. "It's reacting to your heartbeat," she whispered. "It's alive!" Ray froze. The word echoed in his mind. Alive. Something inside him was alive. He remembered the explosion on his ship, the strange flash of light before everything went black. Had something entered his body, or had it been there all along? The doctor pressed her hand on a glass panel, and a holographic image appeared in the air. It showed his wound from inside, lines of golden threads spreading through his veins, moving like electricity. Ray stared in horror. "What is that?" The doctor shook her head slowly. "I don't know," she said. "But it's not natural." She turned to another machine, her long fingers moving quickly across its surface. Strange symbols flickered and the room's lights dimmed. "I need to stabilize you before it spreads further," she said quickly. But before she could do anything, the light from Ray's wound pulsed again. Even brighter, the power in the room flickered, and a deep vibration shook the floor. Ray screamed as pain exploded in his chest. His vision blurring, the golden light climbed up his neck, spreading under his skin like fire. The doctor reached for a small device and pressed it against his arm. Releasing a blue mist, slowly the pain faded, and the light began to dim. Ray's breathing slowed, his eyes heavy, his mind fading into darkness again as he fell unconscious. He heard the alien doctor's voice trembling softly. "This is not just a wound," she whispered to herself. "This is a message." The room fell silent except for the hum of the machines. The doctor stood still, staring at the faint golden glow beneath his skin. Her mind raced with questions, none of which had answers. What was this human? How did he survive such an injury? And what was the strange power sleeping inside him? She turned toward the observation window, where two alien figures stood watching. One of them, a tall officer with silver armor, asked quietly, "Is he dangerous?" The doctor didn't look away from Ray. "Not yet," she said softly, "but he will be outside." Thunder rolled across the alien sky. A storm was coming, not just for this world, but for all who thought humanity was gone. Because the human lying on that table was no ordinary man. He was the beginning of something new, something unstoppable. Dr. Elara stood beside the motionless human, her glowing green fingers trembling slightly. The golden light inside his wound had faded, leaving only faint patterns beneath his skin. She had never seen anything like it. Not in all her years as a healer on the star colony of Thalen Prime. Humans were ancient myths to her people, stories told about warriors from a broken world who once challenged the stars. But now one of those myths lay breathing on her table. Alive, changing, she took a deep breath. Steadying her nerves, her assistants waited in silence, their black eyes watching as she began scanning his body again. The machines hummed, showing strange readings, the symbols flickering in confusion. The data made no sense. The energy inside him kept shifting, adapting, rewriting itself. It was as if his body refused to obey the laws of biology. Elara whispered to herself, "Your kind should have died centuries ago." She leaned closer, studying his face. His features were rugged but calm. There was something unsettling about how peaceful he looked. Even after what happened, humans were supposed to be fragile. Yet this one had survived something no Terrene could have. She felt a strange mix of fear and admiration. Suddenly Ray stirred, his eyes fluttering open, his voice weak. Where am I?" he murmured. Elara stepped back slightly. "You're safe," she said softly. "You are on Thalen Prime in a medical facility." He blinked, confused. "You're not human," he whispered. A faint smile crossed her lips. "No, Captain Ray Carter. I am not." Ray tried to sit up again, but the pain returned, forcing him back. The doctor gently placed her hand on his shoulder. "You must rest," she said. "Your body is unstable," he frowned. "Unstable? What do you mean?" Her expression darkened. "Your wound is not normal," she said carefully. "It's reacting to something inside you." She turned toward the screen, showing him the image of his chest glowing from within. Ray stared in disbelief. "What is that?" Elara hesitated. "It's something alive," she said quietly. "Something mechanical. Yet organic," he shook his head. "That can't be right. I'm just a soldier." But deep down he remembered the moment before the crash. The explosion, the strange light swallowing him. The voice that said, "You are chosen." Elara began speaking into her recorder, her voice calm but unsure. "Subject shows rapid regeneration. Unknown nanobiotic activity present in bloodstream. Genetic mutation beyond known catalog." Ray interrupted weakly. "So I'm infected?" She looked at him with sympathy. "Maybe," she said. "Or maybe you are something new." Her assistant, a younger alien named Varen, approached with a tablet. "Doctor, look." The reading showed the golden substance spreading slowly through Ray's nervous system. But instead of harming him, it was healing tissue and strengthening his organs. Varen's eyes widened. "It's rewriting his DNA," he said. Elara's heart skipped a beat. "That's impossible," she whispered. "No known species can do that." Ray could hear them whispering. But his mind was clouded. Flashes of memory danced before his eyes. Soldiers running. A bright room, scientists in white coats. One of them shouting, "He's the prototype!" Ray gasped, gripping his head, his body trembling. The machines beeped rapidly as the golden light returned under his skin. Elara rushed to him. "Breathe, Captain." "Stay with me," she said, placing her hands near his wound. The glow began to calm as her tools released waves of blue light, stabilizing him. After a few tense moments, the room fell silent again. Elara looked exhausted, her glowing skin dimming slightly. She sat beside his bed, her voice gentle. "Whatever is inside you, it's not trying to kill you." Ray looked at her weakly. "Then what is it doing?" She hesitated. "Protecting you," she said. "Or preparing you for something." She turned toward the window again, her mind racing. If the stories about ancient humans were true, they were once creators of weapons that could reshape worlds. What if this human carried one of those weapons inside him? Her world was not ready for such power, and yet she couldn't bring herself to destroy him. There was something in his eyes, something human, something that made her believe. Hours passed, and Elara worked alone, studying his DNA, scanning every cell. The results were unbelievable. The golden substance seemed to respond to her gaze, as if aware it was being watched at one point. It even formed patterns that resembled ancient human symbols. Elara recorded everything, whispering, "It's communicating." Not just reacting. She looked at the sleeping human again. Maybe he wasn't a survivor. Maybe he was a messenger from something far greater. Her instincts told her this was not an accident. His ship didn't just fall here by chance. Something or someone had sent him just then. The lights in the lab flickered again. The screens flashed red as the system detected an external signal. A transmission coming from Ray's wound. Alara's heart raced. "It's sending a message," she whispered. The translation screen glowed and began to print symbols one by one. Her breath caught as she read them. They said, "Phase 1 complete. Awaiting activation." Alara stepped back in disbelief. She looked at Ray's sleeping form, her voice trembling. "What are you, Captain Carter?" Outside the lab, the stars of Thalen Prime shimmered faintly. But somewhere in the darkness beyond them, something had started moving. The lab was silent. Except for the faint hum of the machines, Dr. Alara stood frozen. Staring at the glowing message on the screen, her hands trembled as the strange words faded away, leaving only the soft light of the monitors. For a long moment she couldn't breathe. She could only hear the beating of her heart echoing in her ears. "Phase 1 complete," she whispered to herself. What does that mean? Her assistant Varen looked just as frightened, his pale face reflecting the golden glow from Ray's body. "Doctor," he said softly. "It's like the human is sending signals." Alara turned toward him sharply. "No," she said, shaking her head. "He's not sending them. Something inside him as Ray lay still on the table, unaware of the chaos his body was causing. The golden lines beneath his skin pulsed softly, almost like veins carrying light instead of blood. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Alara moved closer, unable to look away. Her voice was quiet but filled with awe. "This technology, it's beyond anything we know." She placed her hand above his chest. A scanner hovering beside her. The machine emitted a gentle hum, projecting an image of the strange material inside him. It looked like liquid metal, alive, shifting, forming new shapes every second. It wasn't static, it was growing, adapting, learning. She had seen advanced nanotech before, but nothing like this. This wasn't just a machine, it was evolving. Alara felt her throat tighten. She whispered, "What are you becoming, human?" Then she turned to Varen, her eyes determined. "Prepare the extraction field." Varen hesitated. "Doctor, are you sure?" "If it's part of him now, removing it could kill him." Alara's voice was steady. "If we don't understand it, it could kill all of us." They activated the containment field. A circle of glowing rings surrounding Ray's body. Energy flowed through the air, soft waves of blue light rippling like water. The machines hummed louder, the scanners flickered. Alara adjusted the controls, her eyes never leaving the screen. The metallic substance reacted instantly, twisting and shifting as if it sensed danger. The readings spiked, alarms blared, and the light inside Ray's chest began to pulse rapidly. Ray groaned, his body arching slightly as pain rippled through him. "Stop!" Varen shouted. "It's fighting back." But Alara didn't stop. Her voice was urgent. "Hold the field steady. I almost have it." The glowing metal rose toward the surface of his skin, forming patterns like moving tattoos. The sight was mesmerizing, golden streams dancing under his flesh. Reaching for freedom, Ray's eyes snapped open. Glowing faintly gold, he gasped for air, his voice strained. "What are you doing to me?" Alara froze for a moment, but then whispered, "Trying to save you." He looked at her with pain and confusion. "Then stop, it's burning!" The machine sparked. The field shook, and a wave of golden energy exploded outward. Varen was thrown against the wall. Alarms screamed, lights flickered. Alara shielded her face as the light filled the room. When it finally faded, everything went silent again. The air smelled of ozone and smoke, and the machines were dark. Alara opened her eyes slowly, her hands trembling. Ray was sitting upright, breathing hard, his skin covered in faint golden lines that shimmered like fireflies. "Doctor," Varen's voice trembled. "The energy levels, they're off the charts." Alara looked at the monitors. The readings were impossible. Ray's body was producing its own power. He wasn't dying, he was changing. Ray looked at his hands in disbelief. "I feel different," he said quietly. Alara approached him carefully. "What do you feel?" He paused, his voice low. Alive but not human. The doctor's heart sank. But there was also wonder in her eyes, she whispered. "You've merged with it." Ray looked at her, fear in his eyes. "Can you remove it?" She shook her head slowly. "No, not anymore. It's part of you now." For a few moments they said nothing. Only the faint hum of the machines returning to life filled the room. Then Alara turned to her console, reviewing the data. "The substance is creating new cells, new tissues," she said. "It's turning your body into something stronger." Ray frowned. "Why? What's the point?" She hesitated. It could be a weapon or a shield. Maybe both. Before she could continue, The holographic screen blinked again, displaying a new message. Her heart stopped as she read the words. Phase 2 initiated. Adaptive protocol engaged. Varen gasped. It's activating something else. Ray clutched his chest, feeling the energy building again. Doctor, what's happening to me? Alara grabbed a stabilizer, trying to contain the surge. Your body is evolving faster than before. The energy spread through the room. Lights flickering, walls vibrating. The golden glow from Ray's body expanded, forming small arcs of lightning that danced across the floor. Alara shouted, Varen, shut it down! But it was too late. The machines overloaded. Sparks flying everywhere. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything went quiet again. Ray collapsed back onto the table. Breathing heavily, Alara rushed to his side. Checking his vitals, he was alive. But the glow had changed. Now his veins pulsed with a deeper golden hue. Stronger and steadier, she whispered in awe. It's not killing him anymore. It's adapting to him. Outside the window, storm clouds gathered, thunder rumbling across the alien sky. Alara looked out, her reflection glowing faintly against the glass. Somewhere beyond the stars, someone or something was watching. She turned back to Ray, still unconscious but glowing softly like a sleeping star. Her voice was a mix of fear and fascination as she whispered, This human is not just surviving, he's becoming something new. The silence after the explosion felt endless. Dr. Alara stood in the dim blue light of the ruined lab, her heart racing as she stared at the human on the table. Ray's body glowed softly, golden lines moving under his skin like rivers of light. The machines around him were dead, the power drained. Yet somehow he was still alive, still breathing, still changing. She took a slow step forward, her voice trembling. Captain Carter.
Can you hear me?
For a moment nothing happened, then his fingers twitched. His eyes opened, shining faintly gold. He gasped and sat upright. The table creaking under his strength, Alara froze, both fascinated and afraid. Ray looked around, confusion clouding his face. What? Where am I? His voice was deeper, stronger, carrying an echo that wasn't there before. Alara swallowed hard. You're in my medical lab. You've been unconscious for 6 hours. He blinked slowly, then rubbed his chest. 6 hours. I remember the light, the pain, and then nothing. When he pulled his hand away, Alara saw that the wound was completely gone. Smooth skin, faintly glowing patterns, no scar, no blood, she whispered. Impossible. And her instruments flickered to life as if answering her disbelief. Ray followed her gaze and saw the glow on his chest. It's still inside me. Isn't it? She nodded quietly. Yes, but it's not hurting you anymore. It's become a part of your body. Ray stared at his hands. Flexing his fingers, he could feel energy moving beneath his skin. Every breath felt sharper, stronger, clearer. He could hear the hum of distant machines, the whisper of Alara's heartbeat, the storm outside. It was overwhelming and beautiful at the same time. Alara approached him carefully. How do you feel? He looked up at her, his golden eyes uncertain. Different, like I'm not fully human anymore. Her voice softened. You are still human, Captain. Only more than before, Ray laughed weakly. That doesn't make me feel any better. Suddenly, one of the dead monitors flickered back on by itself, the screen filled with strange symbols that neither of them recognized. Ray's glow pulsed brighter, reacting to the display. Alara stepped back, whispering, It's connected. To you. Ray clenched his fists. Then tell me how to stop it. But before she could answer, the lab lights dimmed again and a faint voice came from the speakers. It wasn't human, but it spoke in perfect English. Adaptive protocol online, subject alpha stable. Ray froze. The words echoing in his mind, Alara's heart pounded. It's speaking through you. He shook his head, terrified. No, I'm not saying that. I'm hearing it, the voice returned, colder this time, awaiting directive from command node. Then the screens went black again, leaving only the sound of Ray's heavy breathing. Alara moved closer, her voice steady but urgent. Captain, listen to me. Whatever this thing is, it's using your body as a transmitter. Ray stared at her, sweat on his forehead. Then find a way to shut it off. I can't, she said quietly. It's bonded to your nervous system. Removing it would kill you. He turned away, gripping the side of the table, anger and fear mixing inside him. Why me? He whispered. Why not someone else? Alara had no answer, only theories, maybe fate, maybe design. Maybe a forgotten experiment from the lost age of humanity. She watched him stand slowly, his movement steady, balanced, powerful. The golden lines on his skin faded until only faint traces remained. He looked almost normal again, but she knew the truth. Nothing about him was normal anymore. Outside the window, lightning flashed across the violet sky. The storm was moving closer. Shaking the facility walls, Varen rushed in. His voice panicked. "Doctor, the planetary network is receiving a signal from orbit." Alara turned sharply. "From orbit? Who?" He swallowed hard. "We don't know." But it's repeating one phrase. "Locate subject Alpha." Ray felt the energy surge in his chest again. His instincts screamed that whoever sent that message wasn't friendly. He looked at Alara, his voice calm but cold. "They're coming for me." She nodded slowly. "Yes. And if they find you, they'll take you apart to understand what you are." He took a deep breath, feeling the power hum inside his veins. "I won't let that happen," he said quietly. "Not to me, not to your people." Alara stared at him. "Surprised you would fight for us?" Ray managed a faint smile. "You saved me. That's reason enough." She turned back to the console, her mind already working. "If the signal keeps broadcasting, they'll reach us within a few hours." Ray clenched his fists, the golden light flickering again beneath his skin. "Then teach me how to control this thing," he said firmly. "If I'm a weapon, I need to learn how to use it." Alara hesitated but finally nodded. "All right, Captain, but understand, every time you use it, it changes you a little more." Ray looked out the window at the storm and said softly, "Then let's hope I can stay human long enough." Thunder rolled through the sky, shaking the walls somewhere far above the planet. Metallic shadows moved through the clouds. The hunt had already begun, and neither of them knew what was waiting out there. But one thing was certain. The human who fell from the stars was no longer just a man. He was awakening into something the universe had never seen before. The storm outside raged like a living thing. Lightning danced across the violet clouds as thunder rolled through the alien night. Inside the laboratory, Dr. Alara worked tirelessly, her fingers moving over glowing screens filled with strange symbols and genetic data. Captain Ray Carter stood near the observation window, watching the storm, his reflection glowing faintly gold against the glass. The energy inside him felt restless, alive, as if waiting for something. Ilara's voice broke the silence. "I've been running tests for hours," she said softly, "but nothing makes sense." Ray turned, his brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" She exhaled slowly. "Every time I analyze your cells, the data changes. Your DNA keeps rewriting itself." Ray frowned. "Rewriting? Like evolving?" Alara nodded. "Exactly. It's as if your body is trying to become something new." She paused, staring at the screen. "But that's not all." Ray moved closer. "Then what is it?" Her eyes met his, filled with both fear and curiosity. "Your DNA carries a code, something old, something designed. It's human, but not the kind of human we know." Ray's pulse quickened. "What are you saying?" She whispered, "You were part of something called the Human Project." The name hit him like a spark in the dark. Memories flashed. Scientists in white suits. A bright chamber, the pain. The voice saying, "Humanity must endure." He grabbed the edge of the console, breathing hard. "I remember that name. It was a military program." Alara turned to him sharply. "A program to do what?" He stared at the floor, his voice quiet. "To create soldiers who could survive anything." She blinked, realization dawning. "Immortal soldiers," she whispered. Ray nodded slowly. "We were experiments. They said it was to protect humanity from extinction." Ilara's eyes widened. "But humanity fell centuries ago." Ray's expression hardened. "Then maybe we didn't fail. Maybe we were left behind to continue the fight." She turned back to her data, her voice shaking. "Ray, the material inside you, it's not alien, it's human technology. Ancient, but far ahead of anything we've seen." He stared at her, shocked. "Human? Are you sure?" She nodded. "Yes, I found old Terran design patterns hidden inside the code structure. Your body carries nanotech built by your own kind." Ray stepped back, his mind spinning. "So humans created this and put it inside me?" Alara looked at him seriously. "It wasn't just inside you, Captain. It chose you. It's bonded to your genetic signature. It recognizes you as its host." Ray felt a chill run through him. "Why me?" She hesitated. "Maybe you were the first to survive the experiment." Maybe the last. He turned toward the storm again. The reflection of lightning flickering across his golden veins, Elara whispered. There's more. Ray looked at her sharply. More? She nodded. The transmission from your body. It's a beacon. It's calling to something out there. His voice dropped. Something human? Her eyes darkened. Maybe, or something that used to be. Suddenly the console beeped. A message flashing across the screen, Elara read it aloud. Incoming signal detected and origin unknown. Encryption level. Terran. Her heart pounded. Ray, it's human code. Thousands of years old. The message began to decode on its own. Lines of golden text forming words on the display. Ray stepped closer, his breath shallow as he read them. Project Human. Status reactivation sequence in progress. Elara's voice trembled. It's still active. Ray clenched his fists. Then that means there are more like me. She looked at him. Fear and hope mixing in her eyes. Or something far worse. The lights flickered again. The storm outside intensified and a deep vibration ran through the floor. Varen rushed in breathless. Doctor! There's something entering orbit. Large, metallic, it's not one of ours. Elara turned to the window, her voice barely a whisper. It heard the signal. Ray's golden eyes glowed brighter, the hum in his chest growing stronger. They're coming for me, he said quietly, and they know exactly where I am. Elara grabbed her equipment. We have to move you to the deep chambers. They won't find you there. Ray shook his head. No, if I run, they'll track me. I need to face this. She looked at him, horrified. Face what? He stared into the storm, his voice steady. Whatever created me. The room shook as thunder roared outside. But it wasn't thunder. It was the sound of ships breaking through the clouds. Through the window, they saw dark silhouettes descending. Engines glowing with red light. Varen gasped. Doctor, they're not Terrene. Their energy signature matches the signal, Elara whispered. They're human ships. Ray stepped forward, his expression calm but his aura blazing gold. If they're human, he said slowly, then I'll finally have my answers. Elara grabbed his arm. Be careful, Ray. These might not be the humans you remember. He gave her a faint smile. I'm not the man I used to be either. As the ships drew closer, the air outside shimmered with heat and light. The first vessel touched down on the alien soil, its hull marked with faded Earth insignias. Elara's voice was barely a whisper. So it's true. Humanity survived. Ray's eyes glowed brighter, the nanotech inside him humming like a heartbeat. Not survived, he said softly. Changed. Outside, the storm broke open. Lightning striking the landing field. The doors of the human ship hissed open, revealing shadows moving inside. Ray took a deep breath and stepped toward the light. The secret of his existence was no longer hidden. The truth had been revealed, and it was only the beginning. The sky above Thalen Prime burned with silver fire as the human ships descended through the storm. Their engines thundered like ancient gods returning from exile, shaking the alien soil beneath the medical facility. Ray Carter watched from the observation deck, his golden eyes glowing faintly against the dark. Dr. Elara stood beside him, fear and awe battling inside her heart. They're here, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rumble of the storm. Ray nodded slowly. They followed the signal. They came for me. Outside, the lead ship landed with a hiss of steam, its hull marked by the faded insignia of the Terran Dominion, symbols that hadn't been seen in the galaxy for 1,000 years. Varen rushed in, panic on his face. A doctor. Planetary defense is demanding orders. Should we fire? Elara shook her head quickly. No, not yet. We don't know their intentions. Ray kept his gaze fixed on the landing site, his voice calm. I do. He clenched his fists, feeling the golden power stir beneath his skin. They didn't come to rescue me. They came to reclaim me. The ramp of the lead ship opened slowly, bright white light spilling onto the rain-soaked ground. Dark figures stepped out, tall and armored, their suits glowing faintly with the same energy that flowed through Ray's veins. Elara whispered in disbelief. They're like you. Ray shook his head. No, they're not like me. They're what I was meant to become. He turned to Elara, his tone serious. Whatever happens next, you and your people need to stay back. They'll see you as a threat. She frowned. And what about you? He smiled faintly. I think I'm the reason they're here. Moments later, a deep metallic voice echoed across the comm channels. Subject Alpha identified by order of Command Node 01. Surrender for reintegration. The words made Alara's stomach twist. Reintegration, she asked. Ray looked at her, eyes darkening. It means they want to take control of me, merge me back into their network. He stepped toward the window, his body glowing brighter with each step. The storm outside seemed to respond, lightning flashing with every beat of his heart. Alara placed a hand on the glass, her voice desperate. Ray, you can't go out there. You don't know what they'll do to you. He turned back to her, calm but resolute. I know exactly what they'll do, Doctor. They'll try to erase what makes me human. The facility trembled as another ship touched down. Smaller craft surrounding the area like predators closing in. Varen shouted, They're deploying drones. Hundreds of them. Alara grabbed a console and activated the planetary shield, energy rippling over the building like a dome of blue fire. For a moment, the noise outside dimmed. Replaced by the steady hum of the shield, Ray looked at her gratefully. That might buy us time, she met his gaze. Not much, Captain. Their weapons are far stronger than ours, he nodded, then placed a hand over his chest, feeling the pulse of energy inside him. Then it's time I learned to use this, he said quietly. Alara hesitated. You still don't know how to control it. He smiled faintly. Guess I'll learn fast. He turned toward the airlock, the golden light around him growing brighter. Each step he took left faint sparks on the floor, like traces of a rising sun. Outside, the drones formed a wide circle, their eyes glowing red, scanning for movement. As Ray stepped through the door, the rain hissed against his glowing skin. The alien sky above flashed with lightning, and for a moment he looked less like a man and more like a living weapon. The drones moved first, firing beams of energy that sliced through the air. Ray raised his hand instinctively, and the golden light erupted into a shimmering shield around him. The energy struck, but the barrier held, glowing brighter with each impact. He looked at his hand in awe. It's responding to me, he murmured. Alara's voice came through the comms. Ray, you're drawing power directly from the storm. It's amplifying your field, he smiled grimly. Then let's give them a real storm. He clenched his fists, and arcs of golden lightning burst outward. Striking the drones one by one, they exploded, crashing into the mud like falling stars. But then the lead figure from the human ship stepped forward, removing its helmet. Underneath was a pale face with eyes that glowed brighter than Ray's. Alpha, the figure said softly, you were never meant to resist us. Ray stared at him, realization dawning. Who are you? The figure smiled. I am what you were designed to be. Perfection. They circled each other slowly, rain and lightning surrounding them like an arena. Alara watched from the lab, her hands shaking as she whispered, Please don't die. Captain, the figure raised his hand, and the air shimmered with raw energy. Ray mirrored the motion, the two forces colliding in a blinding flash that lit the night sky. When the light faded, the ground around them was scorched and smoking. Ray fell to one knee, exhausted, the golden glow flickering. The other man smiled coldly. You can't fight evolution, he said. You are part of me. Ray looked up, his voice steady. Then maybe evolution needs a reminder of what it means to be human. The golden light flared again, brighter than before, pushing the enemy back. Inside the lab, Alara stared in awe, whispering, He's doing it. He's fighting the system itself. Outside, the rain fell harder, steam rising from the ground where their powers clashed. The world trembled under the force of their struggle. The battle between man and creation had begun. And in that storm, the fate of two species, human and alien alike, hung in the balance. The storm over Thalen Prime had grown into a monster of light and sound. Lightning tore through the clouds, thunder cracked across the alien sky, and the air itself hummed with raw energy. In the center of it all stood Ray Carter, the last human prototype, facing his own creation. Across from him, the enhanced commander known only as Arrivo stood calm, his eyes glowing with cold silver fire. You were meant to serve, Arrivo said, his voice like metal scraping across stone. Ray's golden light flickered, but his voice was steady. I was meant to survive. The two beings stared at each other through the rain, lightning flashing between them like the breath of gods. Every drop that touched the ground hissed in the heat of their energy fields. From the command center, Dr. Alara and Varen watched in silence. The instruments around them were overloaded, readings off the charts. Alara pressed a hand to the glass, whispering, He can't win this alone. But deep down she knew, He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. Erevos raised his hand, the air bending under the weight of his power. Golden and silver energies collided in a violent storm of light. Each blast shook the ground. Tearing through metal and stone, Ray was thrown back, crashing into the remains of a ship, his breath ragged, his skin blazing with gold. Erevos stepped forward, his tone mocking. "You're strong, but not perfect." Ray pushed himself up, blood mixing with rain on his face. "Perfect is boring." He slammed his hand into the mud, sending a surge of energy through the ground. Golden roots of light erupted around Erevos. Binding him for a brief moment, the commander smiled coldly. "You think I didn't evolve past tricks like that?" He shattered the bindings with a single pulse, the explosion throwing Ray across the field. Elara cried out, "Ray!" her voice breaking through the comms. He groaned, struggling to stand. "Still here," he muttered. Lightning sparking from his hands, Erevos raised his palm, and holographic panels appeared in the sky. "Projecting data streams and coordinates, your body is the key," he said. "The final signal to awaken the rest of us." Ray froze. "The rest?" Erevos smiled. "There are thousands of us, dormant, waiting for activation, humanity's perfect legacy." Elara's voice came through again. "Urgent, Ray, if he finishes the sequence, every sleeper cell will wake up." Ray clenched his fists. "Then I'll stop him." Erevos tilted his head. "You can't stop evolution. You are evolution." Ray's golden light flared violently, his voice filled with rage. "No, I'm human," he charged forward, moving faster than the eye could follow. Their clash lit up the night sky like twin suns colliding. Energy waves spread for miles, shaking mountains, boiling the rain midair. Every strike Ray landed made the ground tremble. Every counter from Erevos carved scars into the world. Inside the lab, systems began to fail one by one. Alarm screaming, Varen shouted, "The shield is breaking, Doctor. We have to evacuate." But Elara shook her head, her voice trembling. "Not yet. I can still help him." She connected her console directly to Ray's biosignal. Linking their systems, her voice reached his mind, calm and strong. "Ray, listen to me. Your power isn't just strength. It's connection." He heard her through the chaos, her words cutting through the roar of battle. "Connection," he whispered, "not control." He closed his eyes for a heartbeat, the golden light around him shifting, calming. When he opened them again, the light was different, brighter, purer, filled with purpose. Erevos lunged forward, his blade of silver light ready to strike, but Ray caught it with his bare hand, the energy burning against his skin. He looked straight into Erevos's glowing eyes and said softly, "You forgot what we were built for?" Erevos frowned. "To conquer." Ray shook his head. "No, to protect." The golden light exploded outward in a massive wave, swallowing everything around them. The shock wave tore through the battlefield, disarming drones, disabling ships inside the command center. Every screen went white with static. When the light faded, Erevos was on his knees, his armor cracked. His silver glow flickering, Ray stood tall, his body glowing like a living star, his voice calm but filled with power. "It's over," he said. "You don't control humanity anymore." "We do." Erevos looked up, a faint smile on his broken face. "Then finish it." Ray hesitated, then reached out his hand, placing it over Erevos's chest. A pulse of golden energy spread from his palm. Instead of destroying him, it shut down the corrupted code within. Erevos's eyes dimmed and he whispered, "So this is what humanity truly became." Ray nodded softly. Something worth saving. The storm began to fade, the clouds breaking apart to reveal the twin moons of Thalen Prime. Elara and Varen rushed outside, the air thick with smoke and light. They found Ray standing among the wreckage, breathing hard but alive. The golden glow around him dimmed slowly until it was just a faint shimmer under his skin. Elara looked up at him with tears in her eyes. "You did it." He smiled weakly. "No, we did." She looked around at the broken ships and fallen drones. "What happens now?" Ray gazed up at the stars, his eyes filled with quiet determination. "Now we find the others before someone else does." In the distance, a faint beacon blinked among the stars. Another signal, another beginning. Elara touched his arm. "You're not alone anymore, Captain." He looked at her, his expression calm. "Neither are you." As they walked back toward the smoking ruins of the lab, the horizon glowed with the light of a new dawn. And though the war was far from over, the universe had just witnessed something extraordinary. Humanity, and against all odds, had risen again, not as conquerors, but as protectors of life. And somewhere deep in the stars, a voice whispered, soft and distant, Phase 3, Ascension initiated.